Wait a minute. We have a couple Pearson. I thought right away, is that the new truck? No, that can't be the new truck. It was an old Deere with a lot of miles on it.
I was in Big Bend the other day when they get one out on us all. One truck, he went flying through town so quick with his horn going.
Was it Jamie driving or us?
I don't know who was driving.
Was our truck?
No, it was Big Bend.
Yeah.
Bronc.
Jamie drives like a maniac when he's in it.
Wow, that's good.
If he ever had to stop, he'd crush your car. There's no way he'd be able to stop that big.
No, you know, because that mobile there getting gas, and they were just flying.
Not good.
Yeah, what's going on with that? There's another one though. Another company that's interested.
What is this?
I don't know.
Top landmarks.
We don't have any dealings with him though, do we? We're American, whatever it's called.
American
right?
Tower.
Yeah, but they're willing to buy it.
Yeah, everybody's buying out everything.
Yeah.
Gotta see if you can get another bidding war in the future.
That's true. It'd be kind of nice to find out how much they're offering compared to what some of the other ones are. Be nice. Not enough, huh?
I've seen the dude from the go away that won that risk.
Yeah. I saw the article in the journal about Guanago. Oh, you see that?
No.
Comments from,
I don't get the journal. Gave up on them. They kept jacking me up.
Oh, he was a big one too, for the coupons in their ads.
Yeah, me too.
Told the lady the last time, I said, I only got your paper on Sunday because it was big enough I could put it up on my bird cage. She didn't appreciate that.
Everything's live, so whenever, I know it's not 6 o'clock yet, but.
okay.
Well, it's nice and warm in here, Karen, thank you.
It's for the auditor.
Oh,
He's diabetic, so if it's
so
cold.
I get,
So?
Like, you see me running around naked, you don't want it.
Oh my
that
God.
was a good day to eat off for sure, that.
I think we're all diabetic on this side.
You think?
He works faster then. Come on, get it.
4 minutes, right.
Oh,
He's not in sloth mode.
He's in stealth mode when it's hot. I crank it. Come on, move those books.
did we have isn't there a bill that was in here for electric, oh, that was for both, for
That's a,
heating?
that's a fan.
Fan
On the
blower
furnace.
motor on this furnace.
Puke.
Went out?
Yes.
He's pretty reliable too, he's a nice guy.
He was here within, boy, 25 minutes, if that, and it was just, I told him.
He said his dad's in the nurse. Remember Gerald Bolt? He's in the
Sure.
he's in the nursing home.
Yeah,
Was that Mike or Tim?
I think
Tim,
it's-
I believe.
Yeah,
Tim was here?
Is
he's a
it,
big
or-
boy.
Yeah,
He's a big guy. I wouldn't mess with him.
Oh,
real nice.
Mike's the older one.
No, this was
I don't know.
Tim's, well, they're both.
yeah.
He's a tall guy.
Mike's
I don't
the
know.
big guy, grayer hair, Tim's younger.
Well, maybe it was Mike then.
He
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight.
Did he?
Yes, looks really good.
His dad's a two ropes.
Oh, big crap.
so we're all set now.
Hang on for dear life.
All right, gentlemen, I got 6 o'clock. Supervisors, are we ready?
Yep.
Bill?
Yep.
Have everybody got their mics on?
Yep. Yep.
All right. Ready, Madam Clerk?
Yep.
John?
Yes.
All right. Call the Vernon Town Board of Supervisors meeting for February 1st, 2018, 6 p.m. to order. All rise for the pledge, please.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you get a mic off for that?
I don't know what's supposed to be here. You can turn it off.
Turn it off?
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Chairman Thomas Byrd,
Present.
Supervisor Jeff Millies, Supervisor Gary Wildy,
Present.
Supervisor Ed Moline,
Present.
Supervisor Bill Craig. Mr. Chairman, I'll note for the board that note for the record that a quorum of your board is present, and also note for the record, DPW Director John Henneberry is present at the meeting.
Open meetings law compliance.
Mr. Chairman, the agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall to the media, to businesses within the town of Vernon, and the town of Vernon website as a courtesy or in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Okay, item 5 is public comments. Do we have any public comments? Sure.
Turn that mic back on.
I think it is on. You see the green?
I see the green.
But that switch has to go on, yes. Pull it up towards you.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Jalitz at West 235, South 7675, Vernon Hills Drive. I just wanted to ask about the status with the...
Can you pull that a little closer? Thank you.
I'm not talking on it? My wife says I talk too long.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I'm asking the status about what's happening with the fire department with the ISO rating. And just to reiterate a little bit, and then I talked about when this thing does get resolved, how we're gonna notify all the people in the town. We made some suggestions. I actually, Ed and I were talking about writing it on
The newsletter.
the newsletter, but I would like to see it on the front page, like in bold writing, so people don't just throw it away, so they see it or something, or make it where they want to read it or something. I know Ed will do a good job if he does that, but I'm just emphasizing that we need to let the people know once this thing gets resolved, because this will be a substantial savings for everybody in the town. So,
Okay. Just to reiterate, there was a meeting with, and Ed's gonna report on that with his reports.
okay.
We've got, I don't know if you've got this handout here or not, we can get one from the clerk.
Well, I didn't grab it
This
off the table. just-
This is, it says ISO Public Protection Survey, and it says right on the top what to expect following the ISO survey. So they did meet, Ed was there, and he's gonna report on it tonight. So we didn't just sit on our hands. No, I know, that stuff just falls on the wayside all the time, but
No, and I'm not saying you guys did, I've been in contact with Ed, it's just at the last meeting, I was out of town, and I couldn't make the last
Yeah.
meeting, so I'm just, I made a proposal, I made a comment to the board, and, about a, not a complaint, but a concern I had for the town, and I don't sit on it either, I wanna make sure it goes through,
Right.
For everybody, so, I'm not saying the board ain't doing their job, so please don't take it that way.
No, we're not, but we do have a report here tonight that Ed's gonna make, and we do have this handout that you can get from that's probably what she's getting, I'll get you a copy
Okay,
of it.
no, and I appreciate, but I also wanted to bring up, because we didn't discuss how we're gonna notify, we're gonna notify all the people in the town.
And
And I don't want it to cost the town, like in I talk, any money, so we,
Right.
thought about the newsletter would be the most efficient way,
Right,
so, thank you.
all right.
Ed's a good writer, Jeff.
What?
Ed's a good writer.
Oh, yeah.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? All right, I'd just like to thank everybody for showing up here tonight. Thank you for coming. Miscellaneous matters, item 6. Following matters to be discussed and possible action taken by the town board unless otherwise noted. Item 8. Bartender's operator license for Kimberly R. Global. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, I did ask Kimberly to attend this meeting. She indicated she was coming to the meeting, and I would respectfully request the board bypass this, give her a little bit of time. I know she's a mother, just give her, if you could just pass over this to give her a chance, because I know she really needs the job. That's not Kimberly.
Okay, item B, ordinance 2018-1, an ordinance to rezone properties located on Enterprise Drive. Enterprise Business Park. This one, okay, gentlemen, this is the final draft. The final. We've been fooling around with this for a while to get it right.
There's a comma still missing on page.
Whose comment is it?
Huh?
Whose comment? The attorney's?
This was Jason's, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, from Jason first. It was his third item down, Karen. He's being picky on, but it says there's a comma missing between rest homes and private academy, and it's still missing.
Oh, I can put that comment in.
I mean, that's for what it's worth.
I just want the board to know too, I did extensive research. The file's about this big now of all the zoning changes in this conditional zoning, so you have a complete file on this.
Special B3. Everybody's gotta keep that in the back of their mind, that is a special.
The special zone.
That's a special zone B3 there. All right, any other comments, Supervisor?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2018-1.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Did you find that, John?
Yep.
So look at this.
Got it.
January 2015.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Item C, Town of Vernon Park hours, signage and public access. John, do you want to take that one?
Well, I guess we have to decide what we want to do, if you want to change this, the time on there to, say, dusk or an hour after dusk, because of the time, you know, because of the hourly changes all throughout the year. We have people back there when they shouldn't be, and,
You have a suggestion for the hours? What you'd like to see?
well, 7 to 10, I think it's kind of nice to have a hard set hours, but it just fluctuates so much, you know, in the winter time, or, you know, like now, because it starts so early, but what are you gonna be doing back there at that time? So, if we wanna put on there, maybe like you said, an hour after dusk, or dusk to dawn, you know, and the rest of the signage is pretty much explains children under 10s must be supervised, you know, no parking.
Is
After hours, it says right in there.
dusk till dawn. Can the sheriff's department write a citation with that verbiage?
That's the problem I'm having with it too. I don't know if you have to have a hard time stoppage, you know, it's,
Well, before I approve anything, I need to find out.
okay, yeah. Well, I can make a phone call and see what I can ask them once to see what they
Okay.
would think.
So we gotta have the correct verbiage on there, so we
Table.
can,
Not table?
yeah.
Okay.
Is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
And, Madam Clerk, you may want to, give John and send an email to the town attorney to find out what verbiage we can use.
That's what I'll do, and then copy the board and John.
Yeah,
I'll do that first thing.
okay. And I'm not saying, John, that that's not correct.
No, I understand.
I just don't wanna go through the money, spend for the signs, put them up, and write a citation, and the cops
Can't
say,
do
we can't write a citation on
Right.
that.
that's why I almost was wondering myself. I think they have to have probably a hard time on theirs.
Yeah, we need to be sure. Item D, create policy for DPW and fire department clothing purchases. Mr. Moline.
This came up because we saw some things on the last accounts payable where I saw dress uniforms, 2 of them for one person. They're not inexpensive, and I question what authorizes this. With DPW, there's some new things coming in, these illuminated vests for working on the road and stuff. I think it's a great idea. Safety should be a factor, but it needs to be documented someplace, like in the rules and regs or job description someplace, where we can find it again, what we're offering for clothing. Not that everybody gets different equipment and different clothing. The fire department seems to use their line for safety clothing?
Protective.
Protective clothing, and then somewhere else they're picking up the rest of this, I don't know where. So I'd like to know where. And what allows them to go to a different line item and buy clothing. Because that's not supposed to be the practice. If it's a specific line item, you use it for what the line item calls for. So when I saw 2 pair of dress uniforms with all the insignias at a pretty good price, it made me question, what are we doing here? It seems to be out of control, nobody knows what we're doing, and we need to put something in writing someplace where the board follows it. And I'm not sure what the best place for that is, that's why I brought it to the staff meeting as a, what would you like to do with it? And I think we know what clothing we want to offer, we just need to document it.
Jeff?
No, I agree, because it's always kind of a, when something comes up, we're never quite sure what the exact rule was.
Sure.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. We've had some discussion on numerous times in regard to expenditures, and all it is good tracking to find out exactly, where's the money going. We don't mind, but we have to have an accountability of what we're spending it for.
Okay. Bill?
Yeah, I would agree, we're going through the APs down the list, and we see, like it's several pairs or something, how do we know right now? This is a legitimate expenditure on that.
First item, I think, Tom, would be identify where this should go. Not sure what the best place to put this where it would be easily found next time. Any suggestions, Karen?
Well, I did contact the fire department and let them know that the board wanted to discuss their clothing policy and ask them, respectfully ask them to send their policy forth, and I never get anything, so.
You didn't say anything.
One of you big guns has got to call them. I can tell you exactly where they spend their money. I can do you a detailed report on every invoice, what they bought. I can do a little packet for you for the next board meeting. We'd have to write something. I'd be happy to write something for John to review, bring to the board for a policy for DPW. But unfortunately, I don't have enough clout to get the information from the fire department, so we need the big guns.
I'd be happy to follow up with the fire department and talk to them and find out what's going on.
I bet you would.
I'll talk to Alex.
All right, do you want this left on the
Can we,
agenda?
yeah,
Because
leave it on
this is,
to
I'm
next
gonna just
meeting,
read
and
what
see if I
I
can bring
wrote
something
here.
back.
This is a policy decision, this is a preliminary discussion. And that's the way I want it, because we've never actually really sat down and discussed
Something
this.
for you to take a look at.
So
Sure.
what we need
See whatever you want.
to do, gentlemen,
Okay?
I don't think we need an ordinance for this, but we need some type of a policy. I mean, it needs to be written out for everybody, so
Be
everybody
nice to
understands.
have the fire department here too, for their input, so we get it from the horse's mouth,
Well,
exactly,
Eddie's willing to
where's
go
the
to
money
them.
going? Huh?
Ed's willing to go to them.
Yeah, all right. Good.
So, that's what this is. This is preliminary discussion. I agree with you gentlemen that we need something in writing as a policy
Yeah.
that everybody understands. It's simple, everybody understands. And if Karen crafts one for DPW, maybe that Eddie would be a first place to start, so we don't get two different, one for
Yeah, once
fire
we see the
department,
format
one for
there.
DPW, that we get one for both.
Sure.
Okay. Dollar amounts are gonna be different because there's more
Yeah.
people on the fire
Yeah.
department, but, and the turnout here is more expensive, but,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so that's gonna be ongoing.
That's not Kim. That's not my bartender.
All right, item E, discussion of the Vernon Activity Center. I put this on here. Basically, I told you gentlemen that we were gonna keep that on here so we can discuss it and talk about it. John, have we heard anything?
I have not heard anything back from the inspections yet, so I'll give them a call tomorrow, try and move things along a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good to get something on that. Anybody else have anything on the Vernon Activity Center, Bill?
Well, I mentioned to John, I don't think we addressed the issue of lead-based paint. So if he could coordinate that inspection with anything else, that would be good. We addressed, asbestos, what else, John?
Yeah, asbestos in the vermiculite.
Lead, the lead paint issue, I don't think we talked about.
No, that
I don't
didn't.
know. I didn't even see a dollar amount estimate on that, the company, Parse or something there?
Well,
Yeah.
if we raise that building, do we have to get rid of the lead paint?
No.
That can go to landfill, can it?
Yeah. They even referred to, as I recall, lead paint on the I-beam basement. So I think we should check into it at least.
Well, you're not gonna go over and eat it, are you?
Stick his tongue to it in the winter.
It's pretty cold over there now. Okay, yeah. John, will you take care of that?
Yes,
Will you know that and
I'll
look into
touch
that?
base with him tomorrow, trying to get some answers, and I'll ask.
Somewhere along the line, we're gonna get questioned as to whether or not we check that, that's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just, when I talked to all of these, had them out, none of them ever mentioned that. So I guess I never thought of it, so.
Good.
Well, I think maybe the first place to look would find what the regulations are for that when you raise a building.
Call Milwaukee.
Yeah, what if that, you just want no landfill?
Yeah.
All right, item F, disclaimer for wood chip distribution. Everybody's got, Madam Clerk did a fine job of doing this draft here. Any comments?
The attorney was shocked.
Huh?
Macy was shocked.
Why? In regard to the quality of the disclaimer? That somebody else could write something other than the attorney?
It's pretty encompassing, don't you think?
It's free. His isn't.
But you can change it however you'd like.
No.
I thought you would have added something in the beginning, like, even though we try to provide a high quality of materials.
Free. You said to make sure you put free.
Take no warranties.
You get what we get.
So any comments, gentlemen?
It's fine to me.
Looks like it was written by an attorney.
So, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Disclaimer
disclaimer.
on the wood chip form, Supervisor Millies?
Yes.
I'll second.
One thing I'm wondering is, we don't actually refer to, I don't wanna say necessarily quality, but we could be dumping off diseased wood chips. So,
You could be dumping off a lot more than diseased wood chips.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
It was suggested not to enumerate things you're concerned about.
Yeah, just that we're not on the hook for someone saying,
Remember
just
Attorney Macy
delivered a
said we
bunch
didn't
of-
even need it?
I'm sorry?
Remember Attorney Macy said we didn't even need this?
I don't know.
Yeah, he said that staff. Remember?
He's also the guy that goes to court when we get
Yeah, that's
sued.
true, that's.
They don't even want you crossing county line with firewood.
Yeah,
So I'm just wondering.
that's true. The DNR has rules, you're only allowed to take it so far from where it's cut. We're not,
Everything we do stays in the town, so we don't have to worry about that.
everybody does it. Not an excuse, but
Any more discussion?
I seconded it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So, Madam Clerk, we'll get this on their wood chip.
Form?
Item G, request plan commission to review the conditional matrix. Okay, gentlemen, this is our matrix. Any comments?
Does this have to get forwarded to plan commission, or?
Well, that's why it's here first, unless you don't think, you wanna make change, you can make changes to it, do whatever you want with it,
Okay,
not send it to them, send it to them.
yeah.
So I brought it here first. It was suggested that we let the plan commission look at it, but I wanted to bring it here first, and
Okay.
then you guys direct where it goes.
Did anybody come up with any additional suggestions for things we want to put on here? Since it seems like, from what the lawyer's given us and what the state put together, if you don't specifically state something is not allowed, can't do it. They come in and get it, hands down, you have no choice. Now, I counted 1, 2, 3 different items here. Line 1, line 5, line 18, where we don't want these things, obviously, because we haven't put an allowance in any of the boxes for it.
They are allowed. The things that you're talking about that are not clicked on the matrix,
They're stated somewhere, right?
they're in the zoning code. They are allowed to be in a specific area, but the zoning code is drafted in an area where these places wouldn't want to be. Honest. An adult establishment is in our quarrying district.
Well,
So it's, just because it's not allowed by a conditional use, it's allowed in the
doesn't show them
zoning.
anywhere.
This is the condition, this isn't the zoning code. This is the conditional use code. And that's the issue in the law that the attorney brought forth.
Okay, so in the zoning code, we disallow or tell them where they can and can't
Right.
be?
It's when you see it not indicated here, that means it's allowed in the zoning, but it's not allowed as a conditional use. But what the chairman wants you to look at is some of the issues would you want as a conditional use in that zoning. So that's what he's asking you to review.
I don't know how we get specific enough, to be honest with you.
I don't think you can.
No.
The new laws pretty much state they can.
They pretty much put the screws to us on this one.
Mhm.
So I have no idea how to correct this mess, personally. Guess we wait and see what comes up.
Well, do you want to send it to the plan commission or leave it as it is?
I'd say let them look at it, if they got some ideas on it.
Yeah.
They've been in it more than I have, but I looked at it and tried to figure out what we add to this, but things I thought of are on the list, you know, so.
The only
Sneaky chicken
thing
farms.
I asked about was the special B3 district we just approved tonight, that isn't in here, correct, Madam Clerk?
No, it's not delineated. The conditional B3, as Chairman Burt is stating, the conditional B3 zoning that was implemented for the business park is not delineated in our zoning code. So that's one of the provisions that the chairman would like the Plan Commission Board to look at, that either putting that narrative in the zoning code and/or changing it to the traditional B3.
Because that was a conditional, well, it was conditional use, but now it's part of the zoning, standard zoning, as an exception to the normal zoning, right?
Special.
It's a special zoning.
So it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't considered a conditional use.
There are conditional use provisions in that code, but limited.
But the
Limited.
code itself is unique as a special zoning, as I understood.
What the chairman indicated is that conditional B3 zoning is not delineated in our zoning code.
Right,
That is correct.
okay.
So nobody really knows that that industrial park has a special.
Yeah,
And I would think that it should at least show up in the matrix, that people ask, well, what's this?
yeah. I'd say let's send it to the zoning,
Well, that's what,
let them get their input in.
should we be stricter on some of these, like, number 11, commercial truck parking? I mean, that's pretty much allowed all the way down to the residential district.
But it has to be contiguous to a state or county highway. You can't have commercial trucking on a residential zoning. I mean, even if those allowed by a CU, even on a county or state highway, you still have to have a CU. You have to. But what the chairman's saying is, the law now says, like I live on National Avenue, I could have our semis parked, it's provided with the CU, granted.
But if we don't have anything stating against it, you have to approve it.
So the other thing is, you know, who would be a good person besides Vince is Dan Nowak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have some additional gentlemen that work in,
I think that we had everybody that worked on the code. Get Vince, get Dan, Merle especially,
yeah, the Plan Commission.
the Plan Commission.
Megan might have, with her
Megan.
legal background.
And have them at least look at what the
Yeah.
state law now states and how it applies to this.
Okay.
Just like to add a few more restrictions on certain ones.
Oh,
Especially
this isn't gonna be easy. Okay. So Madam Clerk, I'm gonna request that this go to Plan Commission plus the members of that committee,
Okay.
that joint committee that helped us with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Do you wanna sit in on that with that committee, John?
I might attend some of the meetings.
Okay.
We'll see where.
Make sure that Jeff, along with
Earl.
the staff.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. Authorize town chairman to sign the managed services for businesses, Madam Clerk.
As indicated in the budget, just to be compliant and making sure that all our emails are encrypted and the sensitive issues related to the town are encrypted. This was budgeted for, but our IT gentleman would like a managed service agreement signed. And as you know, anytime there's a contract or agreement, it's referred to the town board, and the town board would have to authorize the town chair to sign it. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Sharon, we just tied everything together so that we're in sync with the fire department now, is that true?
We always have been, but the phones that we had before weren't working, so now,
They won't?
they weren't working. These are working now, but the
Yeah.
other ones, yes, yes.
So, I know Tom had asked Alex at one point to look at using R&R, and he was using Cottney. Does this include the fire station?
They don't,
Strictly for this building?
they won't use R&R.
What do you mean they won't use them? Who directs the town?
The fire chief. You can talk to
Oh.
him. We asked him, we need information for the new copiers that we're getting.
Well, I'm just concerned about all the internet and the securities. Is
I don't know,
Tommy-
I don't know what they have there. I don't know what they have.
Find out
Another
later.
question to put forth to the fire chief.
Put Ed on that.
Mhm. That's another good question, Ed.
I don't mean to poke a dragon, but this is, you know,
Well, it's,
Well, just because they're happy with the service over there doesn't necessarily mean that we
security.
can't combine the services,
Mhm.
you know. I mean,
I'd be glad.
there's, I'll talk to you after the meeting, and I've got a few ideas.
Okay.
So you'll,
need a motion on this.
we need a motion on this yet?
Yes.
To authorize the town chair.
I make a motion to approve or authorize the town chairman to sign the managed service agreement for R&R Computer Solutions
I'll
at
second.
the price stated, $1,500 a year.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item I, will hang on to that one for now. Item J, hire a new part-time deputy clerk in clerk's office.
Mr. Chairman and the board, this has been in my budget for several years. As you know, my staff is very part-time, so I need to get another part-time person at the wage that you approved for entry-level deputies at $15 an hour. I did put her resume in your packet just so you could see how extremely qualified. This position is a little bit lower than she's used to doing, but she just wants to work in a different environment. Really nice gal, very qualified. And I would ask that you approve the hiring of this deputy at the recommended wage of $15 per hour.
Then item, second page, second one from the bottom. What is that number?
I don't think I brought her. Can I see your contract?
33.5.
33.5.
Okay, that wasn't 3,300.
No, she's not that old.
No, I didn't say, I just, 33.
She's a very young 60. Yay. And she's a big golfer. So she needs Friday afternoons off, but what, you know. Very nice lady, you're gonna like her.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? When will she start?
Probably sometime next week.
Okay. All right, is your bartender lady?
No,
Yeah?
no, she never came.
Okay, we wanna go through the rest of this, the reports, before we get to finance, give her a little more time. If
Yeah.
she's gonna come, we don't think she's gonna come.
Should I call her?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll just keep moving here. If it's correspondence and announcements. I don't have anything. John?
I have no announcements or correspondence either.
I've had contact with the citizen. The chicken ordinance is reared its head. The individual's having problems with a rooster and chasing his relatives around his yard. So I had a conversation with Karen. We're gonna send the gentleman a copy of the ordinance regarding chickens and how you can keep them under control, and particularly in regard to no roosters in the town. I guess the neighbors are getting a little upset at 4 o'clock in the morning to have an alarm clock going off with the thing cock-a-doodle-doodle or whatever they do. Anyway, it's being handled, and Karen's gonna generate some correspondence. Other than that, I didn't have anything else, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Ed,
Nope, quiet week.
you wanna, I'll let him be in the reports, okay. Bill?
Nothing useful.
All right. Reports. Anything? Gary? Ed? You wanna talk about this, the ISO rating on there?
Yeah, I can briefly state that I was with Alex. We met with two of the folks there from ISO last week, and took a couple hours to go through everything. They were pretty specific on the questions they asked as far as equipment, personnel, everything that was on the fire truck, basically. They wanted to know how many of what was on there, ages of everything, obviously. Pump capacity was an issue, and we looked at that. So we were all done. Alex had given them all the answers they were looking for, so they seemed pretty satisfied. They had everything to go ahead. But then they handed us a sheet at the end. I think the one you got a copy of there, Jeff. And I was surprised to learn it would take up to 6 months to get a response back on this. So they said, don't get nervous if you don't see it right away, because it goes from here to here to here to here, and you know, by the time you're done with bureaucracy, we'll get an answer sometime around July. So the front part's done. Now we're just waiting to see how we fare with that. We should fare pretty good from what I heard.
Okay.
Everybody in the town will
Hmm?
I said everybody in the town will help.
I'm sorry?
I said everybody in the town it will help.
Yeah.
Do they have to do a physical test?
I thought they were gonna be out here, you know,
That's what I thought.
pulling stuff off the engines and do it. They just sat in there and wrote things that, so basically Alex told them what everything was, and they pretty much took it for granted that that's what happened.
Well, if you're asked about physical tests, if Alex has the proper documentation when he does his yearly pump testing and
Yeah.
stuff like that, that would qualify for what the pumpers can pump, so that should be good enough for ISO.
He seemed to be confident that based on the tankers we had and the pump sizes, they could calculate,
How much
I think
water
of the
they
one,
can
Eric, I think, younger fellow there, has these tables he was talking about, that he just plugs these numbers into, and it'll give you the pump rates and all that, so they'll be able to identify with the volume, 6,000 gallons or whatever we gave them, that we have available, and the pump sizes, and the flow rates on the pumps themselves. He was pretty confident he'd come up with whatever he needed for that stuff, so. And I was surprised. I thought they'd be out there hooking something up and, you know,
Yeah.
metering it, and,
Yep.
nah.
But
They did
that's,
in the past.
no, that's why they go by the yearly test, that's why we're supposed to do all fire departments have to do a pump test every year to see if the pump is leaking, you know, if they're losing gallons and everything else, so you guys are aware of too, if you have a maintenance issue coming.
Well, I know we have hoses and pumps tested, I don't know if it's annually, but
Yes,
I think it's an annual
that's
test.
it, every year.
And one thing they commented on, they've hired a bunch of employees now, this firm, and they claim they'll be able to come back to all the departments in Wisconsin every 5 years. So now it'll be automatic. We're not gonna have to call them 5 years from now. They'll be knocking on the door again and doing this whole test all over again just to see that we're static where we're at. Okay?
Bill?
So it's good info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bill?
No, thanks.
All right. Madam Clerk?
I'm gonna defer mine till the next meeting.
John?
Just a one bit of good news. I did hear back from Kevin Yanni from the county, and they did agree to help us with the culvert project. I'm waiting for a letter from them to state exactly how much they're willing to contribute to that. It was up to 50% of the cost, and he said he was gonna bump up what I gave him just to make sure everything was covered, so.
That's that thing on Oakdale?
Yes. So, I'm just waiting to hear from him yet, as far as what they're willing to contribute.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go back to item A then.
She didn't answer her phone, so, she didn't answer her phone and she's not here.
No, maybe she's working. All right, item A, bartenders operators for Kimberly R. Strobel. Gentlemen, anybody have any problems?
Now, I can make this easy. I'll make a motion to approve Kimberly Rose Shin, if that's how you pronounce it.
Strobel.
Strobel?
For a bartender license.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. That's not Kim.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Finance. Accounts payable.
Can I make a motion? Pay the accounts payable in the amount of $35,437.63, based on,
Including the manual checks.
including the manual check.
There is no manual checks.
There is none.
That's
There is no
all.
manual checks, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the other sheet.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Madam Clerk, I got one question,
Yes, sir.
and this may not be part of this, but AT&T, have you heard anything from AT&T?
Yes. They have a new agent that asked me to produce all the motions and minutes and issues in relation to that. The franchise fee from AT&T, Spectrum Time Warner is already paid. AT&T is Wisconsin Bell's a little bit behind, but we have another agent. This is the third one. But as soon as, I'll keep you abreast of how that's going.
You're wearing them out, huh?
Well, I keep getting shifted to something else.
All right, been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. No manual checks.
Nope.
December AR aging reports, anybody's got any comments on that?
List is getting shorter all the time.
Yes, and one of the people accidentally paid our engineering firm, so they're sending a check in that regard. So it's getting pretty small.
Good.
No. I look at it, it's down to $2,500, and that's not too bad.
No.
So, financial statements. Anybody got any comments on them?
No, just with the comment that I made before, well, not before, but in regard to the fire department seems to, this is for the end of the year.
Right,
So,
with
yeah,
the unaudited numbers.
yeah, the unaudited, but they came real close, $319 of budget, which to me is really spectacular,
No.
you know, constructive budgeting.
That's in the monthlies, we'll see when we get the audit done.
Yeah, you haven't
Yeah.
seen January and February's numbers. Those are not in there. Those have to have,
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I just thought it was pretty close.
you're not gonna
It's
be
close.
happy.
They're gonna be over, yeah. Okay, that's all I had.
All right. Item 10, minutes. January 18th.
Karen, I was missed a sheet 1 of the 18th, so I don't know what that was about.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Mine started here.
You wanna table it?
Here, look at mine.
Did you read it? Yeah. It's good? Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
I wouldn't be hurt if you tabled it.
easy. I got 2 and 3. And 4.
That was a test.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, January 18th.
Second.
Was that a second, Bill?
Yep.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. January 25th, 2018.
I'll make a motion. I just have to see if you got any markers. I'll take it. I didn't catch any. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 25th, 1 PM meeting.
I'll second.
You good, huh?
Just so.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. January 25th, meeting at 7 PM.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Our next meeting date will be February 15th at 6 PM, 2018. Public comments? Any public comments? Jeff?
Yep.
Do I repeat my address and everything?
No.
Just listening to the board and stuff like this, and I've only been here 2 years now in the area, and just getting involved with this stuff, like with the fire department with Ed, and just listening to certain things I hear, like, with their just making a budget, or might not, they're gonna be over budget. Some of this stuff, being a, retired firefighter, being a fire department for years, it's concerning to me, and I think I need to bring some attention to the board, that I think Alex has to be under better reins and closer eyes, because what I don't understand is that it's a part-time department. And a part-time department, like he brought up about the dress clothes. If they're a part-time department, why does somebody need two issues of dress clothes that we're paying for? Are they using it for another department? Most of the people here that are working in Vernon are working other jobs, other places. So the clothes that we're buying for them, are they wearing on the other jobs and ruining them, and we're paying for them, and vice versa? So this is a concern, you know, before we just start handing out money to the fire department, you know, maybe we need to see really what's going on and where the money is going. Just like, you know, I didn't see, you know I missed the last 2 meetings, but that, gas card you guys were talking about. You know, I don't know all the ins and outs yet, but it just seems like the fire department is just getting almost a free rein. You know, I'm not saying that the board ain't doing their job again, but it bothers me because even Karen's mentioned in this meeting that she tried to communicate with Alex again, and I know, Ed, we talked about this before, and there's no communication again. When is this gonna stop? You know, we gotta have communication, and we talked about this. When is Alex gonna start communicating and doing what he's supposed to do, administration-wise? I understand he's a good chief, structurally he has the fire department running good and everything else, but administration is part of his doing. So, you know, that's part of his job, and we pay him a good amount of money for that. So, I have a concern as a citizen, you know, what's going on here? You know, with the clothing and maybe other things that we don't even know about. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. All right, let's take a 5-minute break.
What time did he come?
They're here. They're all here. I think they look like they're all here. I can't stop this, so.
The what? No, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Does anybody need coffee?
You
Be up all night.
want a beer? Want a beer?
Are you limping? Are you limping?
No, I'm just sore from working out all the time.
Hi Karen,
Hi, how are you?
See you again.
It's good to see you. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Are you busy?
Life is busy, isn't it? No matter
It's
what
never
you're doing.
dull. It's
Yeah,
never dull.
especially for women. Is it possible to get a copy of the minutes for the DPW meeting from the 25th of January that you just approved?
Yeah, they're real, I'll get them for you. Sure.
Would you?
Sure, no problem.
And
Hold
also
on,
you can
dude.
get up to speed. I've been out of town.
Sounds good.
Good, you?
Angie, it's gonna say, is it okay if it says unapproved at this point? Sure. And then I can always,
Yeah, whatever was presented tonight.
Okay.
Can you get things on your website? I wasn't sure how.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact,
So once they're approved.
yes,
you can
yeah,
get
we
them
put
there.
you'll see the approved ones there.
That way at least I can
I
make a
have,
ballot.
I'm at a seminar all day tomorrow, so, but Tammy, you said the
25th for the town of Waukesha
Yep.
special meeting.
Here we go. I'll bring them to you, Angie. Oh,
Kind of you think?
no problem.
Surviving the cold out there?
I left the house, I left my house this morning.
Thanks.
I left my house this morning.
Ron Fisher.
Yeah, I'm gonna very
See you, yeah.
Mr. Chairman here. For you tonight,
And I got
Brian
to the
Fisher.
Sheboygan, Ozaki
Good to
County
see you
line.
tonight.
5 minutes
Cold night, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was.
Yeah, it's cold out, indeed.
I know, when I got up, it's gonna reach the high already this morning.
Yep.
Or what am I looking? Oh, it's not so bad, it was high winds and me spinning around first, but.
What's that?
That wind is what makes it so bad.
That goes right through you.
That's mine. Video there, it's pretty bit better light than I think we got. Huh?
Watching the Super Bowl, I
You get your best place.
like to see the Eagles win. guys be plowing snow again this weekend?
I think so.
See the Eagles win.
Tyler's got his son's baptism on Sunday,
Yeah.
so he's praying either Saturday night or early Sunday.
There's a wolf coming tonight, do we know? Could be.
What's there? Who's there, you know?
I don't see that. But we are on TV. Remind the guys we are on TV.
Okay.
Good, how are you?
Oh, Kathy, I got to say, I got your. How did it end up? Did you get any inkling of?
I think it went well.
Wait, Mike Haas was terrible. I just said that. He wasn't that terrible. I was shocked. And who was that guy from Milwaukee? Oh, sorry. Mayor Barrett. No, I'm kidding. Did Sean speak? Sean Riley, the mayor of Waukesha? What time did you get out of there?
Oh, yeah, how did it go today? Yeah?
Oh, are they gonna pass it on?
No?
It has to do an executive, so we'll see if it gets there.
Did you know the ledge council girl there?
Nobody, you can find that better than that?
I wish we had more comfortable chairs for you guys.
Limited.
I would have thought you would have, you guys got nicer chairs than we do, aren't you?
Really? These are really old.
Yeah, they are.
They liked yours better.
Yeah.
I'll have John go and we'll swap them out. Surprise!
Yeah, these are,
They're old. Remember how old they are, Gary?
pardon?
Remember how old they are?
I think they're here before we were here.
Before Jesus.
They used to sit on wooden chairs. That was made for very short
I
meetings.
was gonna say that, it didn't last long then, eh?
Yeah.
Howard messed up up there, I don't know where I got this one from.
Well, they got shuffled around when we played sheepshead. Because we use these chairs when we play sheepshead.
I was blaming Howard.
No, not Howard. Probably Ed.
So you gotta eat it early. Sure. Eat it early, you can share, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Let's show them what you get. See what's left.
It is.
Is that? John, can you unlock it? Maybe that's what happened to that girl.
Gentlemen, you ready?
Sure.
Bill? Are you ready, Bill?
Yep. Oh.
Okay. I didn't know if you could hear me. Gentlemen, are you ready? Gentlemen and ladies? Okay. You have to call your meeting to order.
Stand clerk, do we?
I'll do the roll.
Welcome to the joint meeting of the town. Testing, here we are. Okay, welcome to the joint meeting of the town board of Waukesha with the town of Vernon board. I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with the pledge of allegiance. Have you guys done that yet? If not,
Yeah, but out of respect, we'll do it with you.
please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Madam Clerk, have we met the open meetings law?
Yes, we have.
And we could begin with citizens' comments.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss something? Roll call. Madam Clerk.
Chairman Merrick,
Present.
Supervisor Wolf,
Here.
Supervisor Durr,
Here.
Supervisor Racky,
Here.
Supervisor Fisher.
Here. Now we could start with citizens' comments if there are any.
Any citizens' comments?
Bless you.
Bless you.
Any citizens' comments? I'd just like to welcome everybody. It's nice to see people that take an interest in government. You guys like seeing yourself on the...
Surprise!
Wide angle.
All right. So, we had a closed session, and we discussed some things, and we, at the town here, thought that this needed to come out into the public. The reason for what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out a way to save taxpayers some dollars, first of all. Everybody's got to keep that in mind on what we're trying to do. That's the end goal. Now, we have a DPW department in the town of Vernon. Town of Waukesha has a DPW department. But that being said, we've talked and had discussions that there are certain things that we're undermanned for, and there are certain things that you're undermanned for. And we think that if we take, and we want to start out slow, it's kind of like a marriage to me. And we laughed about it when I gave the scenario. But we're going to start slow and figure out how this is going to work. And we don't have all of the answers yet, but the end game is to save the taxpayers money and not duplicate labor forces. We've got equipment, both of us got a lot of equipment that the taxpayers pay a lot of money for. If we combine labor, we can use that equipment more efficiently. And it's all the way down the line. I'm looking at it like a win-win. So, anything else you want to say, gentlemen? Supervisors?
Not this time.
No, we will cover
Bill? John?
Well, Chairman, I think that's a excellent overview, and putting all egos aside and just looking forward to collaboration between the two towns to save each town money is what we're looking forward to.
Okay. So, I would like to start with the DPW director, because that seems to be the point that where this all really started with. That we're looking for somebody to manage both departments. So, John, what are your thoughts on this? I want you to talk publicly on what you think can happen here as Town of Vernon Director / Town of Waukesha DPW Director. What are your thoughts? And I want you to be honest.
Well, I think this is gonna be it's a good idea, because we do have a shortage of manpower in both departments. And, without hiring somebody that's not knowledgeable of how things operate, you gotta keep it within public works departments to work together and we have issues with crack filling, say something like that with, manpower. A lot of times I'll be out on the road with these guys, because we're short staffed, so in that sense, we could use them in both towns. You know, we could be out by you guys, work here, and we have plenty of manpower that way. There's ways that we can use, like I said, there's equipment that you guys have, equipment that we have that we can't use because we are undermanned. So instead of having equipment like that laying around and not being used, I think that's going to benefit everybody as far as use-wise. It's going to take a lot of time, I believe, to ease into this and kind of get to know how to work together. What your expectations are, first of all, versus ours. How our policies are different. We have to come to some kind of agreement on policies, on how we would go about doing certain tasks, ditch work or whatnot, you know, that we do and you don't, or vice versa. So I think it's a good opportunity for everybody, and quite honestly, yes, I think it's going to be a good chance to save some money. So without having to hire out contractors to do the work, it's a lot cheaper if we can keep it in-house. I strongly believe that. So.
Thank you. All right, John, on your, you gave us a sheet here. Do you have this sheet?
Some of us do, we can share.
I can run copies.
Yeah. We'll get those. Well, on that sheet there, John, you have $10,000 for the DPW director. Now, what does that say? What is that for?
Well, just because of the doubling the responsibility of this area that we're be covering, or I'll be responsible for. Just throwing that out there for a starting point. It's, you know, it's never been discussed at all along the way here, so.
Well, imagine you want to get more money.
Well, right. There'll be a lot of extra responsibilities, so extra time, I'm sure, too. I mean, I know we got meeting nights over by you. We got board meetings here, too, so it's just things that, like, I think you guys hire out, like the road paving, the Whistler ratings, you know, stuff like that. I've done them here. I could do them there, and save you whatever it costs. I'm sure it wasn't cheap to have somebody come in and do that. So, you know, in that sense, if we can do it in-house, that's going to be a savings right there. So.
You know, this is pretty open.
I'd just like to ask a question. Have you had the opportunity yet to get together with your DPW director? I think that's got to happen soon. Without that, how do you know what the routes are, how you're going to plot the routes, get some idea of times, things we talked about when we discussed this at length the other day. You need a starting point. You need to put a stake in the ground where you can measure something. Right now, I don't believe we're to the point where we can get good measuring on the things we need to come up with some good prices for you. We need to know what your equipment is, what your routes are, what you do. I mean, we have some rough sketches of it, but I don't think we got the details yet. I know we've kind of tried to keep this under wraps because we didn't want to get everybody overly excited about something that may or may not happen. But you all saw the Waukesha Freeman, I assume, this week. It's out. So
That's fine.
Yeah, the word's out. So if there's a problem letting people communicate, I think we need to get past that so that we can get this thing rolling. I don't think you can roll without some closer communication between the key people, which in this point is John and your John.
Sure.
So I'd ask that that meeting be put together. And you know the questions you want to ask, but we can put something down pretty quick.
I think it's very important to find out how the operating procedures are out there, and you know how things are run, and get to know the area. And there's the only one way to find that out is to meet with the man, you know,
Well, I think it's a good idea, a good thing that the word is out, and not that anybody was trying to keep anything secret. It's a good thing that the word is out, and that we can start to work together to figure out what each municipality's strengths and weaknesses are, where we help each other, and where we benefit each other. At the end of the day, it's about saving money for each community and ending duplication of services between each community. So we do some things that you don't do, you do some things that we don't do, and we both do things that we both do.
Probably don't have to do that.
And perhaps that also. So, let's combine, the idea is to combine those services, eliminate one head and save those dollars there. But I think we're dipping our toes in the water. We're not jumping in, we're dipping our toes in the water, and that's the direction we want to head. It was agreed, I think, that's where we think the direction is.
And again, we're shooting for a win-win, obviously. And I think the key to starting it is having John and your guy get together and, exactly like you said, find where the commonalities are, where the uniquenesses are, and who can share what with the other.
I agree with that, Ed. But first off, we have to get something for John. We have to come to a consensus on what we're going to get John. We're going to have to get to a consensus on what we're going to have to get John. And all the other stuff we're going to have to work at. What you're talking about, I agree.
Yeah.
But we need to get John on board so he can start working with their people.
Exactly.
So, getting back to that $10,000 salary increase. Town of Waukesha, I know some of your names, so I'm just gonna address you as the Town of Waukesha proper. And any of you guys just jump right in there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very curly and bold.
I guess I'll jump in with a thought or comment or two. And again, some of this, at least for some of us on Town of Waukesha, we didn't see any parameters for any of this until a week ago. Okay, so who was the question there? I guess one of the things that I would have in terms of sharing information, I think you mentioned that both town DPWs would have to up staff because they're short of staff to do it. I mean, the reality of it is at this point in time, our Public Works Department consists basically of one and some part-time snow plowing. So even the discussion of sharing our manpower resources, I mean, that's not even a very sensible discussion at this point in time. We have one DPW employee. I think if we go online here and ask, I think we would agree that that is understaffed, to be sure, for the things that we're doing. I guess I'll put that in the form of a question. And what, do you have a vision or something? How many employees does this joint Public Works Department consist of? We'll put together. How many are we talking about? And then that, to me, that a little bit begs the question of really needing to see something to demonstrate how there's a cost saving. So what's the upstaffing look like? How many people are in this department in some vision?
And I'll just throw something in, Supervisor Fisher. I think from my perspective, at least, we have not gone forward with staffing in the town of Waukesha in anticipation of hopefully having some agreement with the town of Vernon to move forward. And it wouldn't have made sense for us to staff up if we didn't need to, and let the next director of the combined departments make those decisions.
Perhaps, so, Chairman, a bigger question I guess I asked and said both departments would have to staff up. I mean, whatever we do, that's a given for the town of Waukesha. I mean, our department is basically one and some part-time snowplow people. My question is, what's the vision? How many people, how many employees are in this department?
I don't know that that's a fair question at this moment until Director Hannaberry has an opportunity to see what we need done, what the needs are, and then what
perhaps overcapacity the town of Vernon may have had and how they could meld into us.
I'm just
It's
playing
gonna
off
take
of
some
his
time.
comment, as I thought he said that they were understaffed. So you and he, I guess, need to talk them. Are you understaffed or overstaffed?
Well, if we could add, you know, your staff, there's a lot of items, or a lot of things that we do that, like I say, we need extra personnel out there, and I'm
Our
out there.
staff is one.
Well, right.
We don't have anything to give.
Well, like I said, I would talked about this, about replacing the previous employee that you had. And I think that's gonna be probably a
what was that?
given. About replacing the previous employer, the latest one that retired recently, apparently.
Left,
Yeah,
just left.
okay, so, and that was discussed, and we thought, you know, once we get out there, get rolling, find out what you guys are gonna need, that position would have to be filled. From there, if you wanna pick up some more of this other stuff that you guys are contracting out or whatnot, we would have to look into if it'd be feasible to hire somebody to fill that void and not contract out.
I guess what my vision is in the near term for all of this is that we come to an agreement between the two town boards on how the town of Vernon is gonna be compensated for any supervisory work that's done. And once that's done, come to an agreement amongst the two boards about what any loaded labor rates would be charged between the two towns for when DPW folks from the town of Vernon are working in the town of Waukesha, and should John need help on a given day, should the town of Waukesha person be working in the town of Vernon. And I think if the two boards can come to an agreement in the very near term about what those fair loaded labor rates are, then over the next perhaps 60 days, it would give John some time to get a feel for what the head count needs truly are. And if he feels that an additional head count, or 2 or 5 or 10, whatever the number may be, then I would look for him to come to either the joint board in something similar to this fashion, or to one of the two boards individually and say, I think this is what needs to be done, and I think that the town of Waukesha should go out and hire the extra person, or I think the town of Vernon should, and then charge the lower labor rate. But let him make that decision as the vision of the combined DPW kind of forms. And that's what I'm hoping to get out of this in the near term, so that perhaps sometime in the longer term that we can become a formally merged department.
I have a question. How do you handle your supervisory accountability now? You have a gentleman works in the Department of Public Works. When he has something that he needs to have questions answered, or something that pertain to the Department of Public Works, who's his?
So let me give you a little history of what
Yeah,
we've done
I'd
over
be
the last
curious of
couple
how
of years.
this is handled internally.
So for quite some time, we were operating a DPW for the most part, on 1.5 to 1 3/4 people. So we had a full-time gentleman, his name is Jerry, and he was a regular full-time employee. And then we had another gentleman, Scott, who was between half-time and 3/4 time.
Okay.
And we do more contracting than you folks do. One of the things that's been very, very interesting to me is that our DPW budgets are extremely similar in terms of dollars, and we do things substantially different. You have more personnel, you do a lot more work in-house, you have crack filling and mechanic work, you have a formal mechanic on staff, and all of those kind of things. We do a lot more contracting. Virtually all of our mechanic work, except for the very basic stuff, is done by various shops. We contract out all of our crack filling. When I first came on the board 4 years ago, we were contracting out all of our snow plowing. I shouldn't say that. We had one route that we did. We rolled some of that into the town. So, Kathy, do you recall when Scott left? 2 years ago? So something between 12 and 24 months ago.
Okay.
Our half or three-quarter time guy left to take a different job somewhere. And over a couple of evolutions we decided as a board to up that position to a second full-time guy. And we hired another gentleman in March, April timeframe, and he was only with us a short time and left. So the reason that I chime in here is because as a representative of the board, I work closely with the DPW as kind of their interface. When Jerry has questions, when things need to come before the board, usually he works.
You're the liaison?
Right.
Basically?
Right. So we moved Jerry up to a DPW supervisor director position a year or two ago. And so we've had this kind of churn. So you'll recall we met as a joint board back in June and talked about opportunities to combine. So when our second full-time guy quit in November, I thought it was an excellent opportunity to jump on that previous joint board meeting that we had and look at what opportunity we could have rather than us going out and hiring somebody. So that's kind of my vision for how I'm hoping this will all play out. And I didn't want to approach the board with going and hiring a second full-time guy right away, because first I wanted to see what kind of opportunities we had as a joint board to, like everyone has said, ultimately save costs. We have a lot of iron that sits in our yards, just like you have a lot of iron that sits in your yards, that sits idle. And as John said, if he had another guy, and if another person needs to be hired, we are certainly budgeted in that fashion. So when we did our budget this past year, we did not just budget for one guy. So, I mean, there is budget room to do those things, but if that decision was going to be made, I wanted to make sure it was made by the right group. I hope that helps.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you.
What, the question, I guess, what equipment have, I know there's a lot of discussion, what equipment have we got that you don't have that might be useful to you?
The hot box, you know, is one that stands out in my head. I don't know if I have the list with me offhand. I don't know where else the list was, but that was one main one. We have, you know, we're pretty well set here for everything we do. We do a lot of culvert work, and I know you guys do not do residential driveway culverts, apparently. We do a lot of cross culvert work with the bigger equipment. As far as what you guys have, I'm not really sure offhand here.
Okay.
We have it somewhere, but.
You see, those questions, to me, are good questions, but I don't think anyone can come in cold, like our director, and tell you the answer to that till he actually steps a foot in your house and starts looking at your equipment and seeing actually hands-on what you do. And I'm not trying to be, you know, I'm looking at it like if I was in John's shoes. Yeah, I could tell you this and I could tell you that, but John doesn't do that. John says, I'll try. We'll make it work. I'll try. That's John.
Yeah, and that's noble and fair. I guess I don't know at this point in time what information he has. I don't know what information any of the rest of you have.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know.
And that's why when we had that meeting, the five of you and the five of us in closed sessions, and then we were talking, and then we went back and talked, and there was 8 of us that said, hey, we need to take it a little bit slower than all of a sudden have a meld it together and here it is and spend money. No, I don't think anybody wants to do that. And the way we decided to do it was get John on board, get him to where he's satisfied and working for yous and for us and then go about that at a rate and a pace and see what this evolves. We may get 6 months into this, and both of us say, hey, you know, I don't think this is gonna work. But I think it's worth a try. I really do.
Chairman, I think those are excellent comments, and Supervisor Fisher, same. There's gonna be a learning curve, and Director Henneberry is gonna have to figure out where he fits within the town of Waukesha, and where the town of Waukesha is gonna figure out where his Department of Public Works fits in with ours. And there's gonna be a learning curve, and there's gonna be some growth pains. And from my perspective, I'd sure like to get through that before the next winter and figure out where we have some economies of savings for crack filling and people that are idle at some points, equipment that we don't need to duplicate between the towns. I think there's a great many savings to be realized between the two towns from both equipment and personnel standpoint. And I think there's a learning curve here. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. I mean, I think this dating period that we're going to be in is much better than jumping into a living together or getting married.
What an analogy.
Thank you, I think.
So we're coming to a marriage council.
I'd like to add one thing. I don't want to come into this stepping on somebody's toes, coming into somebody else's house and telling them how to run their house. That's why I would really like to meet with Jerry and find out how things are run out there. Obviously, he's going to tell me how things should be run or shouldn't be run. He's going to know. So it's a learning, like you said, it's going to be a learning curve for everybody. And I think that's the first step is to finding out what you guys need and what you can and can't do.
You are correct. However, you are going to be the director of both departments and a melded department. So yes, find out what we need, but then you are going to be the director and you are taking charge. Make no mistake about it.
I'm not sure we've made that decision. I mean, I think we're a step ahead of it. That's kind of the first I hear about that tonight. I mean, I'm willing to explore and look for information, but from my point of view, the town of Waukesha has not decided that you're the joint director of our public works department. It just hasn't happened. I'm all ears to look to it, but some of this, you're kind of ahead of your skis, John. I mean, it's that simple. We've not even had a discussion like that.
If we meld together. Perhaps I missed that part.
You're way ahead of yourself.
Well, I think the first step is we gotta do a study. And basically that means you go and spend some time in the town. So how do we do that? If we gotta compensate for you, then that's part of why we're here today. So if you gotta go and spend whatever, 40 hours, 20 hours, 10 hours, you know, how does the town of Waukesha reimburse the town of Vernon? That's what we're here for. I can't agree that we're gonna pay you 10 grand and say, okay, let's see. Now, once it's combined, there may be some salary changes that we need to absorb, but really it's more of a study, and you come back and report to the group as to what you think, and then we decide where to go from there. So I'm all for doing that and starting it, and I guess the point of being here today is, when do we start and how much is it gonna cost?
I'm on board with that too. What's the deliverable? I mean, if it's a consultant proposal, what do you propose to do? How much time are you proposing it's going to take in terms of number of hours? When might we expect a report? At what cost, and what would we expect for deliverables? And depending on what that is, I might be able to get on board on that, and at that point in time, we're at another fork in the road.
So I think the easy way is to figure out what your loaded labor costs are and start there.
One thing you're getting is the knowledge that you're gonna have somebody who knows DPW operations. He knows equipment, and what he needs to do is, like he says, is step in with your personnel. He needs to go through the town and see exactly what the town looks like. You know, I'm sure John's familiar with the town of Waukesha, but each community has its own things that are different than some, but it all seems to be somewhat similar, but he still needs to talk with the people that are on site. He needs to get a feel for the community and exactly what is over there, what kind of equipment, what everything looks like, and then he can make some informed decisions to let you guys know and let us know exactly what exactly, how this could possibly work. You know, that's the big thing. I think you hit it on the head when you said he needs to meet with the individual that's over there by you and have some serious discussions, you know, honest discussions about what's good and what's not good. You know, what's he need to look at, you know. So,
I mean, just
it's a good place to start.
This suggestion, I mean, even a bit to do efficiently, use your expertise efficiently, save some time, money. I don't know what your doctor from the town of Waukesha should produce a detailed list of all of the equipment that we have in vehicles, information equipment, and we should basically be presenting to you an outline of the kinds of things that our DPW does, because we don't do a lot of the things that you do. I mean, our board has taken a position, we're not doing anything with our digits. That's fundamentally different than yours. So rather than wasting time, I think we need to invest our time and put something together that you can use that says, here are the things we do, here's the things that we don't do, here's the manpower, here's the resource to it, here's the equipment. Then you could come and I would think you'd be a step ahead, not just go talk to somebody. You could save a lot of time and a lot of, I think, wasted effort if we did that. I would certainly support doing that so you'd have a good foundation on which to start.
So would anybody object if I facilitated a meeting between Jerry and John for next Monday?
Oop, I don't know. I think that's a good starting point.
I'm sorry, Supervisor, did you say you didn't know?
No, I said that's a good idea.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, I will support that if that's a foundation for him getting information so that the town of Vernon can make a proposal to the town of Waukesha. If that's the purpose of the meeting, I'm all for that.
Okay.
Well, we know you can save money by in-house work rather than outsourcing work. There's a no-brainer there. John did a study for us just on culverts installation, and it was like 50% cheaper to do it in-house than to subcontract it out, because we thought, oh yeah, let's take a look at subcontracted. We're better off doing it in-house with our own people.
And we do our culvert installation.
Yeah, and we know what we're getting then too. You know, when you have outside contractors, you're not really guaranteed. You have to have somebody there looking at to make sure they do the right job, and sometimes it doesn't get done to your specs, and it's a big mess. So John's our lead guy, and he checks all that, makes sure that everything gets done according to what we want done, according to what the residents of this town need, you know. So you're getting that expertise too, you know.
Gary, that's not an issue for us because the town of Waukesha forever has done our own culvert work. And in fact, we charge the driveway culverts and stuff we charge our town residents.
Yep.
So it's not an expense, and we've got the expertise that's been that way in the town of Waukesha forever.
Okay.
Well, so it's not.
That was just an example of you know, how we could probably save some money.
Director Hannaberry, when you do get together with our guy, Jerry, it would probably be helpful if you identified areas, things that the town of Vernon does, the town of Waukesha doesn't do, identify some savings, some efficiencies, that would probably be helpful.
All right, yeah, I have a job sheet basically that breaks down everything, pretty much everything that we do. I can go over that. I mean, I know you've seen it. That would be very helpful. If basically, you could, yep, we don't, and we do, or we don't, or whatever, you know, and that would be a good starting point. Yeah, it's just to get the first-hand knowledge from somebody that's been there is the most valuable information you can get, as far as I'm concerned. So, any kind of policies or, you know, who knows the ins and outs.
someone said in the beginning our budgets are so close together, when you look at that, it looks like a no-brainer, because there's gotta be some savings with the extra work that we do, that you didn't do is a plus right off the bat. But if you wanna do that, that's gonna pick up some of the cost differences that were there, obviously. But equipment-wise, I gotta believe there's some savings for equipment here.
I think in the long run, yeah, like you said, if you have to replace something, and we have, you don't need two of them, so that at some point, you're gonna have to
Until we
replace.
sit down and pick out the numbers, where do you go with it? You have to start somewhere, you're right, you have to have some valid numbers to work with. And that's where them getting together with your people, I think is a great starting point for it.
Okay.
I guess I've got something that you might look at or put on the list, and I certainly know the answer to it, but if we were to end up sharing resources, whether that's manpower or equipment or machinery or whatever, I would like to know, and I'd actually like to see it in, we could do this as well, but actually in written form from insurance carriers or what or not, where does the insurance responsibility go? If you bring your employees and your equipment into the town of Waukesha to do work, or vice versa, if you give us equipment to use with our people or whatever, I mean, I think for both communities, there's got to be some clarity or understanding to that where the insurance coverage is on that. And again, I don't profess to know a lot about insurance, but that sure seems to me like that could be something that needs to be resolved or thought about before the fact, not after the fact.
Excellent point, Supervisor Fisher.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions I had as far as liabilities. You see, personnel and equipment.
Absolutely.
so-
Liability, property damage, I
Mhm.
mean, the whole thing.
The good thing is we have the same insurance company, and I did talk to our agent just briefly, and she indicated that there might be some agreements that the two communities might want to look at that they insure.
Our hope and our intent was to lay off all liability on you.
I'm
I don't
leaving.
think that's gonna work. So what I'm hearing here is, we're gonna ease in, we need some policies, and it's gonna be a learning curve. We need time to send the supervisor over to take a look and talk to your people, and just scope out the lay of the land. A report that is also gonna entail what we're gonna do together. Am I correct with that? And you guys were gonna give us something that, what you want us to do? So we can put together a broader spectrum in that report? Am I correct with that?
I think that's an appropriate area to explore, sure.
Okay. And then delve into the insurance. And is there anything else I missed?
Could we task the two clerks to get together and figure out the insurance issues? And perhaps when Director Henneberry meets with our DPW Director Jerry, that maybe we could engage Supervisor Durr into that and figure out where we meet and which.
We're gonna set that up. We talked about Monday, right?
Right. Okay. I just want to make sure you're going to be there.
It'll probably snow by then.
Yeah.
Probably.
It'll probably
So,
snow by then, yeah.
I've got a question here. If, for all intent and purposes, the parties are gonna meet Monday, when do you think, John, and this is a question, and I don't know, and I may have to talk to you after Monday on this, when do you think we could get kind of started on the report? And when do you think your people could get to what you, in writing, what you want us to do? And then for timelines, we should talk about timelines.
From the town of Waukesha, we need to move rapidly because we're down to an individual in our DPW, and we've done that intentionally, delayed replacing anybody with anticipation of perhaps working with the town of Vernon. So we need to move rapidly. From my perspective, I would say this is weeks, not months. I don't know where the rest of the board, the rest of our board sits on that, but I would say this is a weeks, not months thing.
So you're talking, this is February 1, are you talking March 1st?
Indeed.
And perhaps John can give us a better feel for what he's comfortable with after we meet on Monday.
Well, it's a timeline, it's more, if it's not doable, but then, okay, you know. But then, you know, there's nothing saying if something comes up or something. I'm gonna ask you guys point blank, has anybody got any heartburn with us if we get a labor rate for our guys, if they need help with something, down tree, tornado goes through in February, something like that? With having our guys help?
Mean in between,
Before all of this
No,
goes, has anybody got any heartburn with
I don't
that?
have any problem at all, you know. We're working towards that aim anyway, so get John up and running,
So we're,
so I don't have a
I
problem.
appreciate that.
Yeah. No. How do you do snow plowing? How many employees do you have? Do you have one employee?
No, so right now we have a combination of contracting and in-house snow plowing.
Yeah.
And we have 4 part-time snow plowers.
Are they dependable where they show up, if you have a snowstorm?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I'm
been
just
better,
wondering.
this year has been better than
You know, yeah,
the best
we haven't
yet.
had much snow.
Well, but just from, yes, they're dependent.
Okay, I was just wondering, because if you have part-time, sometimes they, well, it's snowing outside, I don't wanna go to work, you know.
Yeah.
You know, let somebody else do it. Or those with our guys, John calls them 3 o'clock in the morning, they're here, you know.
We do.
Are those part-timers just for snow plowing? Or
Correct.
They're
Oh,
not
right.
available this summer now?
Right.
Okay. Do they provide their own equipment, or do you provide the equipment?
No, we have
Okay.
4
You got
trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we have 4 and then 2 1-tons
Okay.
with plows on.
Clerk Nicholas is pretty good behind a large snowplow truck also.
They won't put me on one.
you just got your other eye back.
I know.
And God, Mr. Chairman, my 2 other areas just to explore,
Sure.
not looking for answers, but just for thought exploration. I mean, the idea of being able to share people resources and equipment resources and everything on its face, that's hard to argue with. I guess one of the questions I have, and not looking for an answer, but for example, if we said, gee, we'd be interested in having you provide labor and materials to crack fill this road or this street from this point to this whatever, or here's 8/10 of a mile or something, take a look at it. Or would you be willing to do that on a fixed or lump sum basis, hourly basis only, hourly not to exceed or whatever? And I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but I'd like to know what the terms of that engagement might be. And that's just a business type of thing. And the other thing I guess I would like an answer to, I mean, of all of the things that we have talked about initially that to me might be the most appealing is, John, if I might, boy, that's expertise here. I mean, to the extent that however this goes, we need additional people, resources at the town of Waukesha, whether part of the service you might be able to offer for pay type of thing as a consultant to help us screen or identify people or what or not. I mean, I'd be interested, again, I'm not looking for a response, they can talk about it, but you've got a body of knowledge and expertise and that type of thing, you get a feeling for what we've got and what we need, whether or not he'd be available on a consultant basis for pay to help us with that. Again, not looking for answers tonight, but that's something that I think might be invaluable to the town of Waukesha.
Well, Supervisor Fisher, I would think that with the report that John's going to put together on the situation over there and what he sees. Some of those answers might be in that report.
Might very well be.
You know,
Agree.
and I would think that, you know, the looking at it in the report is fundamental. It's gonna help everything. So, John, do you think, let me just get back to the timeline again. Do you think March 1st would be feasible, or you'll know more after you take a look Monday?
I would really like to have a discussion with them first and find out what they have and what we can do out there
Okay.
before I would set a deadline, but we could shoot for that.
Would you
To make guaranteed
know
promises.
possibly by the end of next week, by Friday?
We'd have a good idea, yes, I believe so.
Okay. How's that sound for you?
Sounds good.
Nothing's definite, but it's about.
I said, it's all gonna be kind of on the fly, you know, once we figure stuff out as we go, you know, I think but once we get our feet in the door, I think we can make it work.
Now, who is John gonna be working with? You might?
Probably a combination
Contact
of Gary and I.
Okay. And Gary is your other
Jerry.
employee? Jerry, I'm sorry, Jerry. Is Jerry here?
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
Oh, he is?
Hey, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Talking about you.
John, where,
Obvious question, does he have contact information? I'm sorry.
No, I'll
You
have
need
to
to get
get
contact
the phone
information,
numbers or
okay.
something if you got them, or just email it to me tomorrow or something, that'd be fine, like Mike's number or something.
Excellent question.
So, yeah.
John, would it help at all if the town of Waukesha kind of prioritizes the items they want us to work so you can kind of?
Yeah, and I think that's what he alluded to
Right.
as a list of, what they're expected. And that's what I would recommend too. What are you expecting out of us, or out of, like I said? And like I said, I know we went over somewhat of that list and kind of compared some things that you do and we don't, or vice versa. So, a list of things that, what you expect out of us would be great. You know, do you want us to strictly focus on a crack fill situation, or culvert work, or, you know, stormwater, or anything?
Do you think you could have that by Monday's meeting? A prioritized list of events that you want to take care of first thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just an idea of what you guys believe that is top priorities for you guys, you know?
Yeah, I think we can come away from that meeting with that.
It'd be good.
Okay. Anything else you want to touch on?
I think I'm good. And fellas?
I think we, as a board, town of Waukesha, need to, I'm all for the idea of what we're going towards, but I don't think time-wise that's gonna work for everything we need to accomplish. So I'm thinking we need to find another body relatively soon, and put an ad out, and see what's there. We may not necessarily hire somebody, but at least get that process started to see. Even if the two departments combine, we've all stated that we're both somewhat understaffed in certain areas, so ours isn't gonna change. I think that would make sense.
I think that's our highest priority.
That was one thing that I thought too, is if we're gonna do this, you gotta get the ball rolling and get advertising. Because if you wanna fill that position, you're gonna need some time.
Absolutely.
Would anybody object, if we move forward in that capacity and we're gonna hire somebody, would anybody object to have Director Henneberry be part of that interview process under the assumption that he's gonna be the director of both departments at some point?
Well, I was good until you got to that part of it. I don't know why we need that assumption. I mean, I'm good with the part if, and that's their decision, but if you could say that you'd make him available to us on a hourly basis. I mean, we don't know what that assignment involves, but for X number of dollars per hour to serve as a consultant to help us advertise, identify,
interview and select people that would match our needs, I'm all for that, but I'm not for the part that says, and that's a predicate to the fact that we're gonna have joint departments. I mean,
Right,
that doesn't count.
I agree. I think it would be helpful whether John is a joint DPW director or not for you to have John help in that hiring process for a guide for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you have people in your pipeline already that could fit, you know, the bill as a candidate.
Yeah.
You know, somebody that's, you know, looking for more than what you have here now, and if combined, it could be better, or, you know, we need most likely another full-time body. So, certainly wouldn't hurt to have another set of eyes on it.
I think the biggest thing would be then, like you said, to try and get them together, find out what you guys are gonna offer for wages and a benefit package. And,
Well, could you have that
Yeah, we
ready
have that pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
for
that's all
Monday's
comes.
meeting, a benefit package? John
And then-
has, when you hired Casey, or, the latest one you had?
Tyler.
Tyler, he has a, job description and what, you know, we put in the paper, so he could bring that along for that meeting for you to look at, or Karen
It's
can
pretty
give that to Kathy and you can look at it tomorrow. So it'd be, you know, we've got the stuff here, so.
And I think that would be invaluable to us, and my point of view,
Yeah.
if you'd be willing to
We're, you know,
share
we're
that
just trying to get
expertise,
together
that'd
and
be
and
very
make it
gracious.
work, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a high importance, like you say, for time. I think you're right on the money on that.
Okay, anything else, gentlemen? Well, I would like to say one thing then. I think the meeting was informative, productive, and I'll tell you what, you know, I enjoy working with my guys. These are the best guys, I think, in the town that I work with. I think any one of yous could sit right here and we could get something accomplished. I really do feel that way.
I have to move first.
All right.
Does it pay for us to set a follow-up meeting right after Monday's get together,
Well,
so
we-
we can keep the thing going once John has more information? Joint meeting,
We have a board meeting next Thursday.
Do you want us to come to you and meet next Thursday? Gentlemen, look at your calendars.
I can still put it on. I brought it, I didn't post it because I wasn't sure what was coming out of this meeting, so.
Excellent foresight, thank you.
Excellent.
I can make it the 8th.
I'm not opposed to that, the only question I would have is as much looking to John or other people, would we have enough information by then to continue a constructive conversation? And if we think we do, I don't have a problem with that, but
Okay.
do we think we'd be in a position to do that or not?
Well, I guess, we'll see how the meeting goes. If we have to cancel and maybe prolong it for a week, I don't think it'd be that big.
Well, we don't have to have an agenda for us to come to you. You're gonna have your meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We just gotta know by Wednesday if it's gonna work or not. What I was asking our guys, are you available Thursday?
When?
7 o'clock?
Yeah.
When
Well-
is your meeting?
You know, I was thinking, and this might be tight for your personal schedules, but, given that, we have a planning commission meeting going.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, would be really probably beneficial to you guys if we could do it at 6, because that would be before our planning commission and our town board. And I don't wanna delay you guys with, you know, if one of those two meetings goes long.
That's, our normal meetings start at 6.
Yeah.
So,
You know, if you guys could do 6, our planning commission typically starts at 6:30. Some kind of overview, I think we could probably knock out in by 6:30. I know Supervisor, you sometimes have a hard time with 6.
There's 4 other competent people
Yeah,
here.
I just don't wanna, you know, I hate to see you sit around until 8:30, 9 o'clock if the planning commission's got something going on, or we do, or what have you.
Anytime, any hour for me gets me out of the house, you know.
So, let's, tentative, mark, guys, mark your calendars, tentative 6 at Town of Waukesha for next Thursday, and we'll see what comes of it.
Tom?
Yes?
Jerry in the back raised his hand, he wanted to.
Monday is, we're predicting snow, so it's gonna be weather permitting. And I know myself, I don't know if John's gotta be with.
Yeah.
But I have to fire up trucks, load trucks, get personnel. So it might be
Yeah.
snow.
We'll play it by ear, we'll, yeah, pardon?
We might have to work around that, I mean,
Yeah.
not work Monday.
You guys meet in the
I
truck,
mean, if it's not.
on the road, plowing.
Yeah, I'll be flexible, I mean, that's not a problem, Jerry, we can, if you have to reschedule.
All my equipment sits on the side, it's
Yeah.
fired up, warmed up, loaded.
Yeah,
That's my job, I don't know if you have to.
We have a garage
yeah.
with a heater. And they plug them in.
So, yeah, that's not a problem, if weather permitting, obviously.
Right. Yep.
All right.
Well, I think the goal at the next meeting, if the meeting all goes well between John and Jerry, is figure out a labor rate.
Yeah.
Good point, excellent point.
Okay. So, anything, anybody else have, anything? All right. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the Town of Vernon meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Motion to adjourn the town of Waukesha meeting.